Fight Forever just made a terrible mistake that may have put the nail in the coffin for this game. It's not good. Again, could be an all-timer. It pains me so fucking much that every time I hear about this game nowadays and every time I want to talk about it, it has to be negative. So if you're not too caught up on what's been going on, let me catch you up. So basically, AEW Fight Forever has been suffering from a lack of support for quite a while now, ever since it was released. A lot of us, me included, that were kind of more optimistic about the game thought, okay, this is kind of growing pains, you know, eventually we'll get more communication, we'll get more updates, and we'll get more content for this game that was severely lacking in the aforementioned content. And I really wanted to believe in this game, by the way. Like, anyone that watched my videos before this game dropped knew how much I wanted to believe in this. I was giving them so much benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm an optimistic person, so I was always gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, but anyway, this game that was lacking from support had a very slow rollout for the DLC characters, but eventually what is now known as Season Pass 1 had wrapped up. The controversy comes in the newest Season 2 of AEW Fight Forever, the new Season Pass which dropped. And the reason this is so controversial is because in this DLC pack for $12 extra on top of what you've already paid for Season Pass 1 and the game, if you bought the Elite Edition, which was $80, it's another $12 for only the Acclaimed and the Dynamite Arena, which should have been free anyway. And while it will cost you $12 to get the Acclaimed and the new Dynamite Arena, it'll cost you $25 for the full second season pass, which also includes Tony Storm and Beat the Elite mode, which again, not even justifying the price, even remotely. Don't get me wrong, it's great to see the Acclaimed, it's great to see the new Dynamite Arena, but realistically, don't you think that Dynamite Arena should have just been a free patch? Kenny Omega, weren't you the guy that went ahead and said this game will be getting free updates for stuff like this? And now I'm not blaming Kenny, by the way, but then also I kind of am. I'm not solely blaming Kenny is what I should say. Obviously there's a bigger development team, you know, Kenny Omega was kind of just the spokesman. Everyone can go ahead and tag him and say, oh, Kenny, what the hell, Kenny, what that, like, I get it. Also at the same time, it's what the fuck, like, surely, I'm just so baffed. I'm so baffed. So we obviously knew that AEW Fight Forever wasn't going to be, you know, like an every year release. We're not going to get an AEW Fight Forever 2, at least not anytime soon. We're not going to get a yearly AEW game. This game was going to be built upon consistently for a while. And that was exciting to think about. You know, we had the Stadium Stampede mode, which flopped, but that was still an update that happened, and we kind of assumed that, oh, we got this season pass, you know, it'll give us a little bit more than 3 DLC packs, and then we have to pay $12 for a whole new one. $12, by the way, on top of already getting the Elite Edition, which some people got, which was like $80. $12, by the way, on top of what was already Season Pass 1, and these men have the audacity to go ahead and be like, you know what, couple more characters in that arena that you should have had when the game came out a few months ago, yeah, $12, cough it up. Is Mr. Krabs developing this game? Money! I like money! Fuck you! Now, to be fair, I am not gonna cap, I kinda got a little bit bored of the game because of the lack of content, so I haven't played in a while. So arguably, I don't get to really talk about, you know, what they're adding to the game and everything, but also, yes, I do. Fuck you. Just because I haven't played it in a while, that's kind of their problem, actually. They're the reason I haven't played in a while, because there's, like, nothing really to do. Sure, I'd love to go ahead and say, oh, this DLC pack is gonna bring me back. The truth is, it's not bringing anyone back. Unless you are the most die-hard AEW Fight Forever player, unless you are the most die-hard AEW fan, why would you pay $12 for what is a pack with barely anything in it, on top of the money you've already spent? And I know this is kind of just turning into a rant, so I apologize. It wasn't even really supposed to be a rant, like it had a lot more structure, but now I'm getting a little worked up because it's just so frustrating for the company that built their backs off of, hey, we're gonna do everything better than what WWE does wrong. And you can argue with me all day that that's not what AEW is. It kind of was. It's not really anymore, but that's kind of what the Elite were. It's kind of like, oh, f WWE, we do these things better than them. They suck, right? And by the way, there's a whole other storm of WWE 2K stuff going on right now, which I will talk about at some point, or maybe I won't, because it's just so hard to be a wrestling fan, and more importantly, it's so hard to be a wrestling games fan. Like, wrestling games are so washed right now, and I'm so bored of them that it pains me. I mean, the only wrestling game I've played in like the last 2 months is Exactly, you already know what I was gonna say, I don't have to say it. Don't get me wrong, by the way, when I'm saying all of this, I am not letting WWE 2K get off scot-free. They are very much doing things wrong as well, I can't stress that enough. I mean, we can take a look at the recent drama between their ongoing war against modders, we can look at the recent Bad Bunny DLC pack that dropped that was very much a lot more you're paying for than you're actually getting, to put it nicely. They are not doing things very great as well, but at least over there's a bit more meat on the bone. At least when you buy a WWE 2K game and you're paying that much money to buy it, you're actually getting things that you can do in the game. With Fight Forever, you're paying so much money to do nothing. These are the kinds of things that I talked about when it came to AEW Fight Forever. This is one of the things I talked about. Listening to the community, haven't really done that. Updating the game regularly, haven't really done that. And maybe third and most important, just not being tone deaf, not tweeting out, yo, listen, buy this $12 DLC pack. You guys wanted more stuff for Fight Forever, right? Well, give us some money. Give us more money than you actually deserve. Give me $12, like, for like barely any content? Like, it's just so jarring because you guys had something here. You could have done something special. You could have been the change in the wrestling games community, in the wrestling games franchises that everyone needed. And instead, you've somehow been worse than the devil that you were preaching against this whole time. Also, I guess it is worth pointing out, we did get a gameplay clip of their entrance, you know, the Acclaimed in AEW Fight Forever, and them in game, you know, the emotes and everything, scissor me daddy arse. Don't get me wrong, if this was pre-Fight Forever release and I saw this, I'd be like, oh, that's exciting because it's fresh gameplay we haven't really played, a lot of us at the time. But when the game is in such a buried forever, dead state, and this is how you're trying to revive it, it's like, brain on. Is it on? Like, sure, it's great to see the Acclaimed in-game and everything, but realistically, the game around it, the game around the Acclaim that you're buying is still lacking in content. That beat the elite mode or whatever isn't exactly gonna make me want to come back to the game. It's not gonna make me suddenly put another 50 hours into this game. And that's cool and everything. A tower mode probably works a lot better in an arcade game than it did in, you know, the WWE 2K19 towers, for example. But it's just, it's not enough. It's not gonna make me want to come back to the game. It's not gonna, like, even if I came back to the game for Beat the Elite, I'd still be kind of like, okay, well, I've done that, what now? Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like I don't know, maybe I'm just past wrestling games at this point. I just can't see any enjoyment in it, like, reinstalling this game. It's just like, and I think one of the most sickening things about this is they're not gonna learn. They're not going to listen about this, you know, they've already charged the price, there's already probably people buying it, to which I say, but the most sickening thing is that in February, maybe January time, you know, in a few months, they're going to charge for Season Pass 3. They will. Also, another thing when it comes to AEW Fight Forever is the fact that the replayability of the game is still so incredibly lacking, and the creation suite is also incredibly lacking. Like, the customization is still as dire as it has been, you know? It's a damn shame. It really is. This game had so much potential. It had so much promise. It was supposed to be the chosen one. Fuck Fight Forever. Fuck WWE 2K. Go buy yourself an Xbox 360 and play SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Fuck all this new shit. I'm done with that.